it comes to the hellscape that is Reddit, you're either gonna find the best of the best or be sent running for eye bleach. I know over the years I've dealt with both, and today promises to be no exception for any of us. Question for you, what is the wildest thing you've ever read on Reddit? Let me know in the comments, try saying that 5 times fast, and welcome to some of mine. Alrighty everybody, I'm kicking off today with a story that triggered some nightmares for me. So if chatting about stalking and harassment is too much for you, I'd recommend skipping ahead now, because this story feels like something straight out of a horror movie, but worse. So there's this dude, right? Let's call him Villain, because his Reddit username has a cuss word in it that I cannot say. He spells this whole story about how he basically orchestrated this insane scheme involving his girlfriend's friend, Sarah. Strap in, because it's a wild ride. Okay, so it all starts innocently enough. They're out hanging out with Deb, his girlfriend, and Sarah. Sarah's phone needs a little pin to be unlocked, and our dude here casually memorizes it, because that's not red flag number 1 or anything. Fast forward, Sarah leaves her phone lying around like it's no big deal, and oh bother. What does our guy do? He dives right in and hits the jackpot. Some nudies, videos, messages with somebody named Jeff, and a lot of other explicit content I can't talk about. Ruh-roh. But it gets crazier. Our dude concocts this elaborate plan that's more of a slow burn than the plot of A Court of Thorns and Roses. He starts ghosting Deb, but he keeps Sarah close, like suspiciously close. And then, here's the kicker, he creates this alter ego online, and let's call her Vanessa. Like, who has time for that level of catfishing drama? I know I barely have enough time to cook food these days, never mind plot a mystery that would confuse the Scooby Gang. So Vanessa starts blackmailing Jeff, giving him an ultimatum to stop talking to Sarah or risk having his private collection leaked. So for context, Jeff is the guy that Sarah's talking to. So Jeff chickens out, drops Sarah like a hot potato, but Sarah, bless her heart, she's not having it. She stands her ground, and our dude has to switch up tactics. So Vanessa disappears for a hot minute until our guy gets his hand on Sarah's phone again. He installs some spy app, because boundaries are just a suggestion at this point. And then oh boy, Vanessa's back and armed with all the tea on Sarah's convos. Don't worry, it gets more twisted. We've got a whole labyrinth here. Sarah comes crying to our guy about being blackmailed by some mystery person. And what does he do? Swoops in like a knight in shining armor and frames Jeff as the villain. In the end, our dude plays the hero and ends up with Sarah, because apparently nothing brings people together like a good old-fashioned blackmail scheme, and they live happily ever after, I guess? Somebody needs to tell Sarah the truth at some point, because good bleeping grief, this makes me want to burst into flames. Manipulation ain't it, folks, and that's not just my trauma speaking. Alright, sorry to say it everybody, but we're not getting any better yet. We have a killing confession next up on the docket today. A Reddit user was reported to the FBI after he used a popular cuddly bear meme to seemingly confess to killing his sister's boyfriend. The user named Narado posted a thread with the title, "Finally have the guts to say it," to Reddit's Advice Animals subforum back in 2013. So the thread linked to the meme known as Confession Bear, and the startling admission read, "My sister had a bad addict boyfriend. I killed him with his own substances while he was unconscious, and they ruled it as an overdose. If you think my wording is off, pardon me. I feel like I need to start carrying around a redacted board." The meme is usually reserved for silly confessions, so within minutes, a lot of stunned Reddit users began commenting on the photo, being like, is this true? And also like, when, where, why, how, huh? Narada responded just once to the stream of comments, claiming some of the confession was true and then said it was a joke. He said, and I quote, "I posted this wondering what would happen. There is some truth behind it, but I'm not saying what was true and what wasn't. If I had $1 for every time someone took me seriously on the internet, I would be able to retire from today alone. I'm sorry to anyone that I've offended to the point of ruining their lives. If you want to catch a killer, get out of your house and put on some tights and go fight crime. I'm quite done with Reddit tonight. Back to the shadows of lurking. The world isn't quite ready for me." So in now deleted comments, other Reddit users began unearthing Narado's personal details, which were publicly available, including like full name, date of birth, patient, employer, location, Facebook accounts, Twitter, MySpace, and then they began debating, should we contact the authorities? So in the end they were like, yeah, absolutely we should. So the posting of Narado's personal information on Reddit prompted him to add this little PS. He's like, oh, the reason for this post and the admittance, it was a joke because people started posting my own personal information. Sure, you can find information about me, but link me to something that's happening is completely different. I made a meme about something, and it turned into people revealing my personal information, which was quite rude and very uncalled for. He also posted a second meme stating if you joke about killing people on Reddit without a throwaway account, you're gonna have a bad time. So fueling speculation that the confession could be true, he then deleted his Reddit account, as well as his Facebook and other social media pages. Now, later user Lionheart1610K revealed that he was in the military. So how did they find everything on him, by the way? Oh, it's because his post history had his middle name, his birthday, job history, military rank, as well as a ton of info about where he lived. So some folks googled his username, found a Steam profile with the same info and a full name. That's how we matched up everything else. So he upvoted the info himself, saying he didn't give a bleep, but then he backpedaled, deleted all his stuff, closed his Facebook, and what more. Which, like, folks, once again, digital footprint. So what happened next? Well, the police dug into the story, found out that his sister didn't have any sort of boyfriend at the time and that the entire thing was fake. Still, that's a little too crazy for my liking, and allow me to preach one more time. Digital footprint, people. Be careful what you put out there. You don't want people finding your home. Trust me. Okay, how about we talk about something that's horrible and heartbreaking, but less kill everything and everyone next? So this feels like a tale straight out of a Lifetime movie. This dude spills the tea on his upbringing, and let me tell you, it's a roller coaster of emotions. My favorite thing to say, picture this. So he's raised by his psycho birth mother, who's dead set on having a daughter. Like, she's so obsessed with the idea of having a little girl that she straight up raises her son as a girl. So this poor guy grows up thinking, oh, he's a girl, going to a religious school for girls and living his best life. How? Well, it seems like the mom was a pretty successful professional in a legal field, not entirely sure what, and had him via anonymous sperm donor from a fertility clinic. She found out her son was a boy at a late ultrasound and then moved across the country. Gave birth to him at home and then continued to move about until he was about this old. It was just the two of them though. Like, they had contact with other people, but they rarely got close. Our storyteller had a lot of friends, but it was always supervised. But then, plot twist, so he's 7. A teacher spills something on him at school, he's gotta get changed, and suddenly the truth comes out. Can you imagine finding out you're not who you thought you were in the middle of a classroom? Absolutely not. School was miserable enough for me without that. So then, we got the cops getting involved, social services, and just like that, our poor guy's whole world gets turned upside down. He's whisked away from his delusional mom and thrown into foster care faster than you can say gender identity crises. And as I'm sure you can guess, it's not a fun time for him. He goes from living as a girl to being forced into this rough and tumble foster home with a bunch of boys. He was forced to conform to boy stereotypes, short hair and all, and it hurt him. So after some really bad times that I can't go into detail about, he finally lands in a foster home that's like something out of a feel-good movie. They let him be himself, grow out his hair, quit karate and football, he even takes up swimming and jazz dance. So fast forward a little bit, our guy comes out the other side with a healthy sense of self and an amazing wife by his side. He's living his best life now, but he can never talk about what he went through without feeling like he's living in some sort of twisted alternate reality. Poor schmuck. Don't worry, this next story isn't as sad. It's more along the lines of, I guess there's a kink for everything. Look, I perform as a pain-proof performer at freak shows, so I consider myself a pretty open-minded person. But every once in a while, there's something that I just need a minute for. So this is like something out of a horror movie crossed with a sci-fi thriller, but with a major twist of, let's just say not your typical fantasy. So get this. There's this guy who's been having these intense fantasies since high school about getting it on with a giant roach. Yep, a giant cockroach. And that all started when he read The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. I think this officially ties with my high school crush, who was a brony with people-eating fantasies for weirdest thing I've ever heard of. So, back to this guy before I start having nightmares. He starts imagining what it would be like if a woman turned into a roach. And not just anyone, this fully intelligent giant roach named Ogtha. Yeah, trust me, it gets weirder too. It gets to the point where he can't even get it up unless he's imagining doing the deed with Ogtha. Like, he's so fixated on this roach fantasy that human women aren't doing it for him anymore. So he spills the beans to his girlfriend, thinking she'll understand, maybe try to work through it with them. Yeah, Lady Luck was not on this guy's side. She's straight up disgusted, outraged, and now he's freaking out, thinking she's gonna spill the beans about his roach obsession to everybody and their grandma. He also feels guilty about feeling shame because he thinks Ogtha, this imaginary roach, is gonna be upset. Moral of the story here, maybe keep your fantasies to yourself unless you're sure your partner's into something similar. Once again, not shaming it, just not for everybody. How about I end today with a classic case of a Oedipus conflict. So this tale comes from a Reddit user who has since deleted his account, but I think the title of the post sums it up well enough. It reads, I am a man who had a schmexual relationship with his mother. Probably NSFW. I swear if I'm not on a watch list already, talking about this is about to toss me on one, folks. Apparently when the author was in their teens, they were injured in an accident and became incapacitated. This caused them to go from pleasuring themselves twice a day to 0, and that, I guess, was the end of the world. Apparently after 2 weeks, they got frustrated, took it out on their parents, and unlike normal parents, these ones started talking about the possibility of Mommy Dearest helping Junior get off. One thing led to another, and Buddy Boy technically had a schmexual relationship with his mother. He said that he thinks that they would both characterize the experience as positive. Yeah, that about does it for this one before we get taken down. And that brings me to the end of our time, which means it's time for me to go find some eye bleach. Maybe some cute puppy pictures or another episode of the Vampire Diaries. I've been Alexa, your resident ookie spooky girly, and if you were entertained by my ramblings today, or horrified, could you help us out by giving this video a like, subscribing if you aren't already, hit the bell for more Reddit awfulness from us here at Top 5 Scary Videos, and I'll see y'all next time, you lovely spooky people.